Alright, so hey you beautiful big heads, your boy Zatcho, and welcome back to some Duet Night Abyss. Now, I played it a lot, I got to use every character, which is good, but yeah, I'm just gonna go over my overall thoughts of everything, I experienced while playing the game. Now, I will say this right away, I am a controller player, so using keyboard and mouse, it didn't feel that great for me. Like, overall, I got used to it, but still, at the end of the day, it didn't feel that great. A lot of the buttons themselves didn't feel too responsive, and I'll be pressing multiple buttons over and over again, and it just wouldn't give me the outcome I would want, especially when it came to bullet jumping. If for some reason it just wouldn't do it, sometimes I would just literally just roll or some shit. I don't know, but yeah, so that's just a quick gripe. It was just annoying to me. Even though I could move with the controller, I couldn't do anything else, which is for the next minute for me to be able to use a controller in peace. But yeah, but apart from that, so a lot of good things. I like the fact that any character can use any weapon, and even though, the weapon stats itself matter, the weapon essentially picks up the attribute of the character that is using it, so, it doesn't have its own damage type. It will just pretty much become, water, fire, light, dark, whatever the character themselves is, that's what the damage of the weapon will become. Now, obviously, every weapon specializes in its own damage typing, whether that be slash, impact, and things like that. It's just nice that any weapon can be used on any character. It's just a really fun thing. Now, do some characters have mastery with specific weapons? Yes, but again, you can use any weapon on any character, so I really do like that. I like the idea that some characters, because not all characters have this, some characters have, two forms of casting. They have just a tap cast, and then you have a hold cast, or well, for a charge casting. Now, I do like it, but I hope that they change at the same time and just let it be to where that every character has a hold cast, and that every character just has an additional skill that is the hold cast itself, other than the hold cast just being a prolonged version of the normal cast, because it would just it'd just be nice to have more than just an alt and a straight up ability, especially when sometimes the kits don't feel like much is going on in them. Like, some characters have very interesting kits, even though they just have the two abilities more or less and the passive, but two abilities more or less. Some characters' kits do get really in depth, but many of them just fall flat with just two abilities. I can't remember the guy's name. Yu Ming, I think. Like, his design looks really cool, but his kit just didn't seem that interesting to me. Literally, his skill was something that would push him up into the air, and then you just hit attack to do a plunge attack, and it will increase the range of the plunge attack, and you'll get like a little additional, I guess, hit if there's an enemy nearby. It would like strike him with lightning or something. But as far as the skill goes, it just didn't feel that interesting. And then he's one of those characters that didn't have a hold cast. It's just the put you in the air and then you get to slam down. That was pretty much his entire skill, and it wasn't really that fun to use. It was just like, oh, that's it. And then his alt was just summon dragon, and I can't remember the specific effects, but it was like reduced damage or something. I can't remember everything for it, but that alone just made him not a really rememberable character to me. Like, his design was cool, but other than that, like, his kit was just like But then you have a character like Randy, who was a 4-star, whose kit was just a lot more interesting and appealing to me. Motherfucker would just sit in a chair and just deflect hits and everything else, then jump in the air and just throw spears down on the enemy. Like, a lot more going on, So it's just weird that a 4-star felt more interactive or more thought out than a 5-star. It just felt weird. Demon wedges are cool, it's literally just mods from Warframe. It allows for the characters themselves to have more depth to their builds. Literally, you can increase the skills range, power, and everything else with different mods, reduce costs of how much energy a skill will cost, things like that. Literally mods. And it's really nice to see that, because it allows for very diverse building, so that's exciting. My only problem with it is, I hope that once the game releases, they allow you to really see the difference that the demonic wedges are making to your character's abilities and whatnot. Because when you equip it, yes, you see the stat difference on the side, but when you actually go to the skills themselves, it doesn't show the actual difference that the demon wedges are making, So you can't see, like, so you put on the increase in range. If you actually go to the ability, you can't see. It will just be the base range still. So I hope they will go in there and, allow you to see the changes that the demon wedges are making. I don't know if I didn't notice it, but I didn't see it. That's just me personally. Being able to equip up to 9 wedges is nice. And then obviously, well, I can't say obviously because if you didn't play, you wouldn't know this, but as you increase your character's level in Ascension, you increase the capacity of the demon wedge you can equip, and you can equip up to 9. So a lot of diverse building can happen there. So yeah, you can probably get away with a lot of shenanigans, which is one of the fun things about Warframe, is making really stupid builds that you can then abuse, right? But that also goes back to my point of, I hope they give characters at least one more skill, just for there to be more to abuse, because that's honestly the fun part, is just making really dumb builds and seeing how far you can go. It's nice that you can craft summonable weapons. I could only craft one because obviously I only got the blueprint for one. But yeah, it's a nice thing that you're able to craft some weapons. I don't know if you can craft premium weapons, but I'm pretty sure you can craft standard weapons, because I could craft one. So we'll see how that holds over, you know, when the game fully releases. But yeah, you do have to wait real world time to be able to then craft the weapon. But I have no problem with that, especially if you're being able to just, you know, craft a 5-star weapon. That seems a pretty fair trade-off, you know. Next up, Genimons. Genimons are pretty much just buffs that you find in the open world. I'm just going over all the things I like. I like them because, you know, they essentially give you another skill. I guess you could call it the player skill, because your player, like your actual player, will come in and activate it, and it gives you a buff depending on which one you are using. And you find them in the open world to collect more, pretty much like little Pokemon, you know. So they're cute little buffs, you know, nothing too bad about them. They weren't too hard to find. They are very noticeable. So yeah, they're just cool little guys added in. Now, moving on to things I kind of didn't like, even though I mixed some of those in there, just specifically, it might just because it's a beta, but I don't see, well, okay, actually there's two things. When it comes to the waypoints that you teleport to, I feel like they should just activate if you get within a certain distance of them, because some of them, they just blend right into the environment. Some of them are really hard to see. And then also, you can play with other people. You can do co-op, but it's restricted to just the farmable stages for like resources and stuff, like ascension mats and upgrade XP and stuff. I hope they expand it outside of that more. And if they do not, then allow us to use more than just one character at a time. You can summon other characters to fight alongside you, which is interesting, but after I summon them, it will be nice to be able to switch between them. I wouldn't have a problem with still being locked to just having a singular weapon, you know, because that's what you gotta do. You gotta pick a weapon for the person that you summon in to have. I wouldn't even care if I'm locked to that one weapon and I switch to them and then I just get the rest of their kit. Like, that would be just fine. Or you just are allowed to just make a whole team of 3 characters, because if you aren't able to play more with co-op, then I can see people being bored with only using one character at a time at any given time, and then just summoning other characters to fight alongside you and you're not actually playing them. I can see people being burned out of a single character quite easily if that's the case. So hopefully they will allow us to either switch between our characters in this supposed thought was going to be a very co-op heavy game, because if it was more co-op heavy, I could, you know, see why they're not allowing you to do it. But the fact that it's only limited to the farm missions is the weird part. So at that point, it's just like, then just let us, you know, use more than one character at a time. So that's pretty much just all the thoughts I have over the game overall. It's a good game. Just literally, I don't like, not trying to discredit it by comparing it to Warframe, because yeah, Warframe is a phenomenal game. Great game. I fucking love Warframe. So me saying I'm comparing it to Warframe is like a high praise for me, because back in the day when I was a young poor mofo, Warframe gave me the ability to have fun and spend money I didn't have because I traded my butt off, and it was a great time, you know, trading with people, interacting with people, to then buy cosmetics with money I didn't have, then to progress builds and everything else. Great experience, you know. So when I'm comparing this game to Warframe, it's one of the highest praises I can give it. So it's literally just Warframe with waifus. So yeah, I would just like them to add a little bit more depth to some characters, and even you could take some characters and just, you know, spread out the kit a little bit more, because some characters, like, abilities are just loaded, literally just loaded. Like, there's a character that's literally just Trinity from Warframe, and all of Trinity's abilities are just split between 2 abilities, which is fucking crazy because it's just so much in just 2 abilities, you know. Healing, restoring energy, more healing because she heals 2 different ways. This character I'm thinking of, I can't remember her name. And then also just dealing damage to the enemy. It's just so much in 2 abilities. It's crazy. But, you know, I guess she'll just be a broken character. But anyways, I'm just starting to ramble now. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you in the next one. Love you guys, and bye-bye.